Assalamualaikum and hi to our beloved Madam Nabilah. We are from AS 2466A1. We are from Group 1 and today we would like to present our new product development which is Crustacean Shells Plastic Wrap. We name our product as CrusTic. Without further ado, let's get started. We consist of 6 members. Firstly, myself, Aina Nadhirah Binti Azhar. My group members, which are Aina Najwa Binti Zainudin, Amalia Binti Mohamad Kamil, Sabarina Rizka Binti Turiman, Nurdiana Binti Izwan Hadi Wong, and Amirah Atiqah Binti Mohamad Zaid. This slide here shows the contents of this project. It consists of introduction, SWOT analysis, product or service design, concept testing, build prototype, test marketing, conclusion, and references. Now I will proceed with the introduction of this project. Despite of using plastic material made from petroleum to wrap your food, which has numerous negative impacts on the environment and health, it is way much better to switch to a safer, better and healthier choice of plastic. Therefore, we introduce our plastic material which extracted from crustacean shells called chitin. Chitin is the building material that gives strength to the exoskeleton of crustaceans, insects, and cell walls of fungi. The primary sources of chitin are shrimp, crab, and lobster shells. I'm pretty sure that you are curious of why we chose chitin of crustacean shells instead of other components, right? So right now, I will elaborate the magnificent benefits of chitin as plastic material. Firstly, it is biocompatible, which means it will not produce toxic substances when being exposed to our body. Secondly, it is biodegradable, which means it is easily decomposed by bacteria or other living things, hence avoiding land and sea pollution. In fact, it is a non-toxic biopolymer, and last but not least, it possesses the antimicrobial properties which can inhibit or prevent the bacterial growth, especially bacteria related to foods that are perishable or prone to spoil easily. Unfortunately, no matter how good chitin is, it is always end up in land or sea, which creating environmental hazards, health issues, and imbalances in land and sea ecosystem. Crustacean shells of lobster, crab, and shrimp are primarily dumped in the sea rather than land, which increases sea pollution. Thus, from this issue, the production of plastic food wrap made from chitin of crustacean shells waste, called CrusTic, will be introduced. Next, let's move on to the problem statements. Firstly, in the processing of shrimps for human consumption, about 40 to 50% of the total mass is waste, and 40% of this waste is chitin. The majority of the waste is dumped into the sea, and only limited amount of waste is utilized as animal feeds. Nowadays, world offshore disposal of chitin is around 250 billion tons per year. This will cause pollution in both land and sea, which lead to negative environmental and public health effects. Next, out of 7.9 billion of the total population in this world, half of it probably have encountered difficulties in handling raw foods, fresh fruits, and vegetables. This kind of foods have lower shelf life than processed foods. Common plastic food wrap is not enough in lengthening their shelf life. In households, manufacturers, restaurants, or fast food vendors, this might lead to serious problems since foods need to be safe to consume. Lastly, long-term usage and exposure of common plastics and plastic products can lead to leaching of toxic chemical constituents into food, drinks, and water. Thus, this will cause a huge impact on the human health and well-being. Therefore, based on these three major problems, we will utilize the bioplastic derived from crustacean shells waste to a much better, useful and healthier choice of plastic wrap called CrusTic. Besides, there are three objectives of this product. Firstly, to lengthen the shelf life of raw foods such as fish, meat and poultry, as well as fresh fruits and vegetables, by integrating chitin from the waste of crustacean shells into plastic food wrap. Secondly, to help against polluting the planet and marine system by fully utilizing the waste of crustacean shells. Lastly, to promote solution to the usage of endless amount of plastic food wraps made from petroleum. Next, I will explain to you the methodology prior producing CrusTic. For your information, we obtain the crustacean shells waste from the seafood processing manufacturers and crustacean waste management companies. Alright, firstly, the shrimp or crab or lobster shells will be washed thoroughly and grind to powder. Next, it will go through the demineralization process by adding 7% concentration of hydrochloric acid with continuous stirring and heated at 60 degrees Celsius for 2 to 3 hours in order to remove carbonic and phosphate content from the shell's powder. Then it will be filtered. After the first filtration, the shell's powder will go through deproteinization process, which means we will remove protein by treating with 5% concentration of sodium hydroxide to reduce nitrogen content of protein, followed by washing to remove any traces of sodium hydroxide. The powder will then be filtered and washed for the second time to remove any impurities. Then a wet cake will be produced. Next, it will be dried in an oven at 70 degrees Celsius for 3 hours. Next, it will be bleached with hydrogen peroxide to reduce pigment of chitin, followed by drying at 70 degrees Celsius. The demineralized, deproteinized and deodorized white sample of chitin is obtained. It is then dried and stored under airtight condition. As you can see on this slide, I provide to you the photographic representation of chitin extraction process.
Now, I will move into SWOT analysis for this project. SWOT is indicate the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat analysis of the product, which for us is crustacean shell plastic wrap, or known also as CrusTic plastic wrap. The strength of this product is it can prolong the shelf life of the food since it has antimicrobial properties. Other than that, it keeps food fresh from microbial contamination and also biodegradable material which are safe to consume and degrade quickly. However, there are some weaknesses of these products, such as it is more expensive than common plastic wrapper and limited to crustacean shell only. In addition, the shortage of crustacean waste also can cause the problem in the production of these CrusTics. Next, the opportunities of this product are it is able to replace the common plastic wrap which made up from polyvinyl chloride, which is PVC, and low density polyethylene, which is LDPE. Furthermore, CrusTic is one of the best solutions for global food waste and marine solution, and it is sustainability solution to single-use plastic wrap. The threat of this product are there is another company seeks to come out with better processing and material for further improvement. Moreover, the biggest threat is the non-biodegradable plastic usage is still dominant as well as shortfall understanding on sustainability's benefit among the customers. Next, the usefulness of the products. It offers a much safer, better and environmentally friendly option to protect the food from deterioration, keep food fresh for longer time, especially for raw food, since the material used in the wrapper has antimicrobial properties. Furthermore, it helps to save the planet and health, since it is a biodegradable and compostable product, as well as already enough to keep food safe and fresh with single layer of wrapping. The novelty or uniqueness of this product it was fully utilized. The use of biodegradable biopolymers of crustacean shells, ability to extend shelf life of the perishable food up to 40% and naturally biodegradable over time with completely breaking down within around 19 days. Lastly, the commercialization potential for our product is our extraction process of converting crustacean shells into plastic is safe and most importantly cost effective. And the strong fibrous microfibrils of chitin make CrusTic become more tough and strong plastic wrap. Next, consumer trend canvas for CrusTic plastic wrap. These show the overall brief description, including their basic needs, drivers of changes, innovation potential, emerging customers' expectations, and inspiration about our product. Basic needs of our product is aimed to encourage customer for better lifestyle. Basic need for our product is divided into 3 parts. The first part is toxic chemical. This is because common plastic that consumer encounter in daily life contain potentially toxic chemical. The long-term usage and plastic waste become one of the most exposure of plastics, and plastic products to high temperature can lead to leaching of toxic chemical into food, drinks, and water. Moreover, some of toxic chemical may leach out from plastic and are found in the blood and tissue of nearly all of us. The second part of basic needs is environment. This is because plastic waste become one of the most issue due to an increased trend in pollution, as well as have contributed to an array of major environmental problems all over the world due to the economic development, production, as well as people changing patterns of consumption. The last part of basic need is human health, where microplastic may enter the human body via direct exposure through ingestion or inhalation. This may lead to inflammation, genotoxicity, oxidative stress, apoptosis, and necrosis, which are linked to an array of negative health outcomes, including cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and stroke. Therefore, CrusTic plastic wrap was produced in order to reduce the usage of common plastic wrap, as well as to keep the environment safe and to protect the human health. Next part is drivers of changes, where we recognize some factors which affect the capacity to reform and opportunities for changes in order to create a better changes. There are 2 points, which is environmental and culture, where it is considered as environmental because it was made from biopolymer called chitin, which has been extracted from crustacean shell. Moreover, single layer of wrapping is already enough to keep the food fresh longer. Therefore, the usage of chitin offers much safer, better and environmental friendly option to consumer compared to common plastic wrap. CrusTic wrap has been categorized as environmental friendly due to its opportunities, which are biodegradable and compostable and can completely break down within 19 days. CrusTic had to fulfill customer expectation to protect the food from contamination as well as to prolong the shelf life of the food product since it has an antimicrobial properties and it has the ability to keep food fresh longer by up to 40% respectively. Innovation potential for our product can be seen on its technology advancement, where it is made from shellfish shells, more safer compared to common plastic wrap that usually made from petroleum, thus contribute to waste. However, the major difference is that it will not add to the millions of tons of waste that come from the packaging that has ended up in the oceans. It requires certain process such as demineralization to remove carbonates and phosphate content from crustacean shell powder, deproteinization to remove any traces of sodium hydroxide, bleaching to reduce the pigment of chitins, followed by drying and storing under tight condition before produce CrusTic plastic wrap. Other innovation potential is to sustainable vision in order to reduce the waste that has ended up in the oceans. Other than that, to decrease the usage of common plastic wrap made from petroleum due to contribute to waste and also has been proved to cause cancer due to the chemical that has been absorbed from plastic wrap into hot and fatty foods. It's also to provide safe and biodegradable plastic wrap as consumer demand green alternative. Next, emerging customers' expectation, where customers are eager to try a new product, especially that give benefits to them. Even though many people are not familiar with our CrusTic plastic wrap, but 70% respondents are interested toward our products. This may be because our product is biodegradable and recyclable. The awareness among the consumer towards the environment has become prominent these days. Other than that, consumers are free to use our product without worrying about give negative impact to environment. Furthermore, our product is a chemical-free as we do not use any toxic chemicals during the production of CrusTic plastic wrap. Moreover, our product does not give undesirable odor or flavor to the food product. Lastly, CrusTic wrap is considered as strong and tough plastic wrap due to the strong fibrous microfibrils of chitin which are tougher than other molecules in nature. Inspiration towards this product is to protect the environment as well as to use the natural preservative. The development of CrusTic plastic wrap is look for renewable ways to replace petroleum-based material to consumer, usually PET packaging. Furthermore, our product has a natural antimicrobial and antifungal which helps food stay fresh for longer time. Moreover, our product also has the reduction in oxygen permeability compared to PET up to 67%.
Hi, my name is Amalia. Now, let's move to our product design of CrusTic plastic wrap. This section will be covered on material use, technology use, CrusTic plastic wrap, and lastly, packaging of CrusTic plastic wrap. There are 6 materials used in this product, which is crustacean shell waste, hydrochloric acid, sodium hydroxide, distilled water, hydrogen peroxide, and the main material, which is chitin. Firstly, crustacean shells waste are the most important chitin sources for commercial use due to its high content and ready availability. It is contain chitin, a material that, together with its derivative chitosan, provides many of the same properties as plastic, but degrades in weeks or months rather than centuries. Next, the powdered raw material will be initially treated with an acidic solution of hydrochloric acid, which is the recommended reagent. The objective of using this strong acid is to get rid of mineral constituents such as calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate. Next, an alkali treatment, sodium hydroxide, is used for deprotonization of the demineralized shells. Thus, proteins will be eliminated with sodium hydroxide. However, the alkali treatment has been reported might pollute the environment, consume a lot of energy, and generate low-quality chitosan. As a result, enzymatic approaches may be used to overcome those constraints. Next, the other materials used is distilled water. Distilled water is used to wash sample after demineralization and deprotonization step to remove any traces of chemicals and soluble impurities before it is dried using oven. Distilled water, also known as a type of purified water. Next, we use hydrogen peroxide to wash the dried sample to reduce the pigment of chitin, followed by drying and storing it under airtight conditions. The positive aspects of using hydrogen peroxide include the fact that it is highly environment friendly, decomposes to oxygen and water, colorless, and non-corrosive. Last but not least, the primary substance, chitin, are obtained from crustaceans' exoskeletons after demineralization and deprotonization treatments. Generally, chitin is an inexpensive renewable biopolymer derived from marine sources. Its extraction from natural sources is the most critical stage for obtaining chitin. The parameters and conditions of extraction determine several aspects of pure chitin, such as molecular weight, degree of deacetylation, purity, and polydispersity index. Now, let's take a look on the technology used. In this project, we use 4 technology: grinder, magnetic stirrer, filter apparatus, and oven drying. Grinder is a machine that can rapidly reduce scrap shell waste to ashes, making it more effective and efficient. Furthermore, this machine's primary function is to reduce waste volume. This shell crusher is self-contained equipment that can be fed using a hopper and conveyor system. Next, the magnetic stirrer is used in the demineralization process, where the shrimp, crab, lobster shells powder is added slowly to 7% hydrochloric acid with continuous stirring and heated at 60 degrees Celsius to remove carbonate and phosphate content from the shell's powder. The magnetic stirrer is typically a magnetic needle immersed in the container containing the nanomaterial and base fluid mixture. It rotates due to a rotating magnetic field generated by electromagnets inside the stirrer instrument. This technology also silent and allow for the stirring of closed systems without the necessity for isolation that mechanical agitators require. Filtration may be necessary in the early stage of sample preparation to separate materials that are either solids in liquids or the other way around. In this project, the filtration process is needed when the samples out to remove any chemicals and soluble impurities right after the demineralization and deprotonization process. As the mixture of shell waste is poured onto the filter paper, the solvent water passes through, leaving behind the suspended particles on the filter paper. Lastly, the filtered sample will be dried in an oven drying. Drying is an important process to preserve raw materials, and the drying process occurs when water vapor is removed from its surface into the surrounding space, resulting in a dried material with an extended shelf life and reduced water activity of chitin. During drying, the moisture content can be reduced to a level ranging 1 to 5%, which avoids microbial and undesirable enzymatic reactions. Furthermore, the advantages of using this oven are low labor cost, flexibility in operation, less contamination from infestation, and cost efficient. This is our final product of Crustacean shells plastic wrap named CrusTic. You can see the product represented in the example below. So we know that basically CrusTic is a bioplastic derived from the organic compound chitin extracted from the shells of crustaceans such as lobster, shrimp, and crab. And it is obviously has transparent properties, which is about the same as regular plastic wrap. As with regular plastic wrap in the market, CrusTic will be sold on rolls in boxes with a cutting edge to cut the plastic wraps. CrusTic will be packed into a paperboard to protect them from contamination, as CrusTic will be used for food application purposes. The paperboard that we choose is 100% made from recycled material to reduce pollution on the environment and to reduce the need for new raw materials. Last but not least, our product CrusTic is available in two lengths, which are 50 meters and 30 meters. The measurement of the boxes are illustrated as follows.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Amirah Atiqah Binti Zaid. Today I will talk about the concept testing for our product, CrusTic. Concept testing is a very crucial part in a new product development before it can be released to the market. By conducting a concept testing, we are able to know whether our product will be a hit or become a flop in the market. So by conducting a concept testing for our product, we believe that our product can penetrate at the market. So why we have to conduct a concept testing? Firstly, because we want to get the real feedback or insight from the consumer about our product. Secondly, we want to give a chance for an improvement in our product before we release it to the consumer. And the third reason is because we want consumer to recognize our new product. And the last one is because we want to know the real target market for our product CrusTic. So what we do for our concept testing for our product? We have conducted a physical survey where we approach the consumer and interview them face-to-face to understand their demand for our product. The example of insight or feedback that we get from the consumer is the suitable size for a good food wrap, and whether they want the plastic wrap to be colored or they want them just to be transparent as the normal food wrap. And the very crucial point that we are able to collect from the consumer is the price that they're willing to pay to buy our product. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Okay, now moving on to the next part, which is build a prototype. But before that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nurdiana, Binti Izwan, Hadi, Wong. So this is how our CrusTic plastic wrap will looks like. It comes with two variety of sizes with 15 meters long and 30 meters long. As you could see from here, the red and yellow color are chosen because of the color pigment of crustacean itself. And what makes our products special are because we're really concerned about the environmental issues. The paperboard that we had chosen are 100% made from the right recyclable materials. And just from a glance, it does look like the common or the regular plastic wrap that already available in the market. But before that, but before that, have you ever facing this kind of problems when you use plastic wrap or this kind of problems? At CrusTic, we hear you out, so we came out with a little bit of modification into our packaging to make sure that our customer use our plastic wrap with smile on their face. Now I would like to introduce to you the modification or the features that we has added into our packaging, which is the slide cutter. The slide cutter will be used instead of the regular cutter because of its function that provide convenience to our user. With the slide cutter, our user will just need to slide to cut the plastic wrap. So by doing that, we believe that no more injury will be occur, and we want to make sure that we provide a comfort to our user, customer. Here we attach you the demonstration video on how easy to use the slide cutter that has been added into the CrusTic plastic wrap packaging. We believe by doing so, we could minimize the risk of our customer from getting injury, and we want to visualize on how easy and on how convenient the slide cutter will provide to our customer. As you can see from the video, it is very easy to use because of the slide cutter and also the rubber that come together with the slide cutter. The rubber will hold on the plastic wrap, so no more sticky, so easy to use. Why choosing our plastic wrap? Number one, as the slide cutter has been introduced, so no more blade. 2. As the original function of the plastic wrap, our CrusTic plastic wrap also preserves freshness. 3. CrusTic plastic wrap can be used for a refrigerator storage. And number 4, the most important part is it is easy to use, and or in other words, less effort is needed when using our CrusTic plastic wrap. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rizka. So, I will present on the test marketing part. In this section, I will briefly explain on what is test marketing and reveal the data collected of consumer preference, the price, the initiative of CrusTic product, and lastly, its acceptance. Okay, now, what is the meaning of test marketing? According to the Entrepreneur's Encyclopedia definition, market testing is defined as a way to test multiple marketing scenarios and then select the most promising for the expansion. Thus, this is our strategy on the marketing test. First step, we identify the problems and research the objective, as well as generate the idea. Secondly, we conducted the survey by screening through the distribution of Google Form. After we gather all the data is being processed and analyzed. Lastly, we finalize the CrusTic product and present it into the report. And make it works. According to the survey, 80 respondents have participated in this survey. It is to acquire the information from the consumer perspective on CrusTic wrap. It is also to identify its potential in the marketplace. So, approximately 57 out of 80, which is 71.3% of our respondents, are female, and left 28.7% or 23 are males. From the data obtained, student possess the highest participation in this survey with 56.3%. Other than that, 20% of the respondents are private sector worker. Meanwhile, 13.7% of the respondents are government employee. And the least participation is from the housewife group, which is 10%. Okay, now let's talk about plastic wrap context. 90% of the respondents are not familiar with the plastic wrapper which made from shellfish shells. Meanwhile, only 10% acknowledge it. The possible reason that we can assume is this kind of plastic wrapper is a brand new innovative plastic wrap and has been not established worldwide yet. Although this shellfish shell plastic wrap is unpopular, but still, the majority of the respondents, which is 70 or 87.5% of them, prefer our CrusTic wrapper compared to craft paper wrapper. However, 12.5% or 10 of them have been chosen the craft paper wrapper. Apart from that, it is also recorded that 78.8% of the respondents use plastic food wrapper regularly to wrap their foods, including raw foods, fish, meat, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and etc. In contrast, 21.3% of them have been identified for not using plastic food wrappers to wrap their perishable foods. The kind of respondents who usually use plastic wrapper are our main target market because we would like to encourage them to use a better version of plastic wrapper. Besides, even though 21.3% of the respondents are not practically use plastic food wrappers, yet most of them are still interested in lengthening the shelf life of their foods. The recorded statistic has proved that 95% of the respondents are interested in lengthening their food shelf life. Meanwhile, the remaining of them, 5%, are not interested. They have also shared their experience on purchasing the perishable foods, which the foods still remain fresh and appealing after being purchased in 1 day, 2 to 3 days, 4 to 6 days, and even more than a week. The generated pie chart showed the percentage of their perishable foods that still remain fresh for 1 day, 2 to 3 days, 4 to 6 days, and more than 1 week are 17.5%, 55%, 21.3%, and 6.3% respectively. It can be concluded that most of their perishable food remain fresh within 2 to 3 days only after being purchased. Next, the environmental pollution caused by the crustacean shell waste and plastic usage is our main concern, since the world has recorded 242 million tons of plastic waste was generated in 2016. Therefore, the respondents were asked whether they are concerned about the environmental pollution or not. Surprisingly, 100% of the respondents are totally concerned about the environmental pollution. It is as figured in the pie chart. Since all of them are concerned about the environmental effects, however, there are still few respondents who choose not to purchase our product when they were asked whether they would purchase it or not. There are 76.3% of the respondents who would purchase our product. In contrast, 8.8% choose to not purchase our product and 15% of them would maybe purchase it. On top of that, we have also provided one section for the respondent who answered no or maybe upon purchasing the product to clarify their reasons. Mostly, the reasons are financial issues. Besides that, they are lacking of information on this innovative plastic, such as the pros, the cons, the efficiency, the biodegradability, the marketplace, as well as the potential effects of CrusTic to react with other foods. Moreover, some of them are using food containers to keep their perishable and raw foods. In the context of financial issues, only 12.5% of the respondents would not purchase this product if the market price is RM5.99 for 15 meters or RM11.90 for 30 meters. Nevertheless, 87.5% of the respondents would purchase it. In many cases, 95% of the respondents consider this product as a great initiative to reduce the environmental pollution, while the left 5% see it is not. To sum up the survey, the respondents are required to rate the overall acceptance of CrusTic wrap product by using a scale of 1 to 5. 1 indicates that our product is extremely unacceptable, meanwhile 5 indicates that our product is extremely acceptable. There is 0 respondent that chose scale 1 and 2, which particularly shows that all of the respondents are aware on the need of our product in the market. And only 11.3% or non-respondents have selected the acceptance rate of 3 for CrusTic wrap. Approximately 37 or 45% of them rated our product with 4, and the remaining 36 or 43.8% respondents rated our product with the highest scale, which is 5, which indicates that our product is extremely acceptable. Therefore, we can conclude that our CrusTic wrapper is highly acceptable in the market, as most of our respondents have showed that positive feedback towards our product. That's all from us. Thank you.
To conclude, plastic waste has become a worrying issue globally, mainly because it takes a long time to dispose of. Eventually, it has negatively impacted human health, also the environment. Concerning this issue, CrusTic plastic wrap has been introduced because it can decompose within 90 days as it is produced from chitin extracted from the crustacean shells. In other words, CrusTic is made of biodegradable materials. CrusTic provides the same functionality as the available plastic wrap and has an upgrade function by extending the shelf life of foods, keeping the food fresh from microbial contamination, and it is environmentally friendly. Apart from this promising material used in CrusTic wrap, an additional features has been added to the packaging, which is the slide cutter. CrusTic has gained positive reviews from the respondents for market testing, and this concludes that CrusTic will be one of the consumers' choices. Hopefully, CrusTic will help reduce the number of waste not only in Malaysia but also worldwide, because every one of us are responsible to protect our environment, because together we can change the world. And last from us, there are no passengers on spaceship Earth. We are all crew. Thank you.
This is the list of references that we used in order to produce this project. That's all from us. Thank you very much, madam. Have a good day.